So there's an animated film hitting theaters this weekend, and no, we're not talking about K-pop Demon Hunters, the sing-along version, although that's a lot of fun. Go see that one, especially if you like the music. But no, I'm talking about a film that has a lot of reasons to go see it. More importantly, it has 2.15 billion reasons to go see it, as in one of the top grossing films of all time. The highest grossing film to ever come out of China, the highest grossing animated movie of all time, in the top 5, depending on which list you look at. But it's like number 1, well, it's not number 1, it's number 2 or number 4 or number 5, depending on which list. I mean, this is a huge hit, and they finally dubbed it into English, and it's hitting theaters this weekend, and I think it's pretty good. Hey everybody, I'm Sean McBride, the movie guy, and so let's get into it. Let's talk about Ne Zha 2.
You face Ne Zha, Prince of Rhymes! I slay demons for their crimes! I've come here to beat bad guys! Time to cut you down to size! Taste good? You're going down, Furface.
Well, looks like we got an intruder. Bandits Hill ain't no place for a kid.
Okay, Ne Zha 2 is an epic. It's a story of a young boy, Ne Zha, who is the reincarnation of something that's called the demon orb. I'm not sure what that is, but that makes him very powerful. But the whole demon part of his being means that he's prone to get into all sorts of mischief. Basically, he's a demigod who wants to do well because he's a young kid and he loves his mom and wants to do well, but he's always doing bad stuff. Now, in true yin-yang fashion, the other half of the demon orb is something called the spirit pearl, which is another kid, teenager. He's called Ao Bing. Now, the problem is at the beginning of this movie, Ao Bing is very hurt. He's at the point of death. He's almost ready to go, but Ne Zha says, look, you're my best friend, so tell you what, your spirit can live in my body for the time being until we can figure out how to get you a new body. So now, yin-yang fashion, once again, we have the spirit of goodness and the spirit of demonhood all living in this one character. And look, on top of all this, the action part of the movie starts. Evil forces, basically a bunch of sea monsters are attacking this pass where Ne Zha's parents serve as generals of the armed forces there. But the leader of the attacking brigades just happens to be Ao Bing's father. And so he desperately wants to save his son as well. So he allows Ne Zha to go on this 7-day trip where he will have to prove that he deserves to become an immortal. And in doing so, he would have access to this magical elixir, which will be useful in helping to build a new body for his son. Okay, are you confused? Yeah, I am as well. Look, I suspect if you are a kid who grows up in China, a lot of these are based in myths that you will have heard your entire life. So a lot of the details which are brand new to me, and I do think I listen to Chinese mythology on occasion. I listen to several podcasts that go into pan-cultural mythology. A lot of stuff here that I had no idea what was going on here. So perhaps my biggest issue with this movie is that for American audiences, specifically for American kid audiences, this film will be very confusing. But the good news is the basic story elements are still there. You know that we are rooting for Ne Zha and Ao Bing in his body. We want them to succeed against the bad forces, whoever those bad forces may be. And there's some really interesting twists and turns that are going to happen in this film. Now, listen, this, like I said, it has a lot of kid-based humor going on here. Ne Zha is always getting into mischief, but the film leans into that as well. So we have a flying pig, and a flying pig that toots in the face of a person there. We have Ne Zha, we have jokes about vomit, and Ne Zha accidentally peeing in something he thinks is a urinal, but it's actually a water basin, and now everyone's drinking his pee-pee. Ha ha ha. If I'm an 8-year-old kid, that stuff is hilarious. Okay, but not so much that that's the reason to see this movie. And look, the reason to see this movie is for the action and the animation. The action here is great. It's frequent, lots of fights, very martial arts flavored, obviously here, but just huge scenes of big hordes of monsters going up against each other. A lot of the action is humorous, but a lot of it's deadly serious. And so there's a kind of a tonal disconnect here. I think the kid humor will aim for the elementary schools, but the action will definitely impress the, high school kids and above here. There's some really good action stuff here. And the animation, oh my goodness, what amazing animation. This is one of the most beautiful films I've seen in a long time. There's this scene where we have this, the heavenly host, gazillion angels garbed out in gold, and then we have the hordes from the demon realm, and they're all in black, and they're all flying, and it looks like it's like a golden horde of insects and a black swarm of insects, and they smash into each other, and the gold and the black are mixing, and then you start to see red streaks, and well, that's blood. And what a great way to show the violence and the bloodshed of this fight without giving us close-ups of demons or humans being impaled here. So I think the animation is amazing, one of the most beautiful films I've seen in a long time. Look, I think this film works very well. They have some very good voice casts here. I did see the original Naja, and I thought, ooh, I always say you should get the subtitle if you can, but I saw the original Naja dubbed. It was not a great vocal performances. This time out, we have Michelle Yeoh, who's playing Naja's mother. That's the most notable voice there. But Crystal Lee, you may know her. She's a Taiwanese American actress. She's done a lot of video game stuff here. She's voicing the voice of Naja, and I think she does a great job. A very big step up on the vocal stuff here. So look, I'm kind of torn on this one. The second half of this movie, which gets into the action, the animation in particular, I think is brilliant. The first half is made for the kids. Now, look, this is a 2.5-hour movie, and so I'm not sure how I feel about it. There's no good time to take the kids to the bathroom, but I think it's very good. I think it's one of the best animated movies I've seen this year. So I'm going to give Naja 2 3 stars out of 4. Like I said, it's 2.5 hours, and there's even a cutscene. I'll tell you right now, the cutscene may be my favorite part of the movie, so you have to stick around for that one. But it's like 2.5 hours, and now we're going to tack on another 5-minute scene in the middle of the credits. So, look, I think it's very good. But like I say, I like this movie. I don't think it probably means more to you if you are someone who knows the Chinese myths here. But even for me, a guy who really didn't know any of these mythology pieces, I thought it was a lot of fun. So anyway, what do you think? Feel free to comment below. Of course, don't forget to subscribe so you get all of my Movie Guy quick takes as soon as they come out. And of course, subscribe to our podcast. It's called Two Movie Guys, the number 2 Movie Guys. We're going into greater detail on all of the week's big new movie releases. Okay, so Naja 2 is the biggest film out this week. It's not going to be big at the American box office, quite frankly. I wish Americans would go see it, but I'm not sure they will. But I think it's the biggest film by scope out in theaters this week. And then we have a smaller film we'll talk about next. We'll talk about Honey Don't next time up. See you then. Bye.